Hey everybody, welcome back to Golf Testimony, the channel where I use my game to help your game. And today, I think I'm going to let the camera roll for maybe about a minute. I'm just going to hit shot after shot after shot and let you take a guess at what I'm talking about in this video. Let's go! Alright, it's hot. I am sweating in my garage with absolutely zero air moving in here. The humidity is through the roof here in North Carolina. It is just the dog days of summer already, and it's barely June. So what am I talking about in today's video? I'll tell you real quick. The number one thing that I learned from Jim Venetos was not stillness. Let me just clarify here for a second. I'm not saying that stillness was not a vital part of it and not a huge part of the learning that I got when I worked with Jim Venetos. It is huge and it is very important and it is a great thing that I learned from him. However, the number one thing that I took away from my work with Jim Venetos was that form follows function. Now, the reason I want to talk about Jim Venetos and his system, his teachings, and the things that I learned from him while working with him, and the number one takeaway being form follows function, is because those three words, he didn't coin them, he didn't come up with them, but he definitely applies that phrase to a lot of what he teaches and a lot of what he does with his golfing life. Form follows function. Now, what exactly does that mean? Basically, it means that what you look like when you swing, how you set up, how you look, how your swing looks, it really doesn't matter. What you're looking for is the product. So how can we apply form follows function? Well, let's take a page out of Jim Venetos' book. All right, so I'm sweating like crazy. It is insanely hot out here. But anyway, so form follows function. Let's think about that. Well, what I talked about in some of my first videos, I think I made a video called Universal Golf Truths and how few there actually were, and that they all apply to the club and the ball, and they've got nothing to do with you. They've got nothing to do with your individual anatomy. They've got nothing to do with how you swing, what method you use. It all has to do with the fact that this handle on this golf club, when you're striking a golf ball on the turf, the handle has to be leading and be out racing the club head coming into impact. You have to contact this on its downward trajectory so that the ground is contacted after the ball. The ground is contacted on the target side of the golf ball. And it needs to be a circular swing that is basically coming from the inside to out and then back to the inside. I can show you my version of the Jim Venetos swing. It's been a long time since I've used this. I'll just try it. Pivot onto your left side to where you get most of the weight on your left foot. You've got your shoulders and your hips closed. Then you grip the club. Then you try and maintain that relationship to the golf ball right there, and you try to make a swing that doesn't move you off the ball. It doesn't make you rotate and build all this stuff and then come back through and close your shoulders. But basically, you pivot, you grip, you hold that position, and you try to stay as still in the backswing as you can. Now, the form follows function comes into this so much because what you look like, what you're doing with your body, is you're trying to make your body facilitate what you want to happen with the club. So what's the opposite of a really weak, high, short slice? A nice, tight, penetrating, deep into the night baby draw. In order to get that draw, You have to reroute the club. And you don't reroute the club by making manipulations with your body, because when you do that, then that's introducing all kinds of other variables that you have to control, right? So you get it with the setup. Now I'm set up for this path that's going to come from inside to out, no matter what. So there's problem number one. Number two is you're not turning and opening and manipulating the club face throughout the swing. So if you keep it square, you stay there, and then you just deliver it right back down from where it came from. And you don't have to go in and do the pivot and grip. You can set up square, like I'm doing just now, right? And then you can just focus on trying to keep your body still and deliver the club back into the ball, right back where it came. Two of the biggest issues when I was working with Jim is, number one, I don't want to look weird. Okay, well, the only reason that he sets that up is to engage the lead side so that the right shoulder stays back and you don't have to move. If this right shoulder stays back behind the left and it doesn't overtake, you really have a really good chance of eliminating that slice, that over-the-top move, and also having the widest, longest path coming back into the golf ball. Now, the second thing, they didn't want to look weird, the second thing they said is that it works with the mid-irons, it works with the short irons, it works with the wedges, but then when you start trying to hit driver or hybrids, it doesn't work. Well, maybe, just maybe, I was trying to introduce a completely different form, a more familiar form, rather than allowing myself to just be free and say, I can do whatever I want with my body. I don't have to look like the magazine, as long as I maintain the function and don't try and change the form that produces that function. Right? I don't know about you, but I get hung up so often on how my swing looks. And I'm not talking about to try and please everybody else, right? I'm not talking about in a way to where when I go out to the golf course, everybody's watching me swing and they're going, ooh, look at this guy. He's got this fantastic swing. That doesn't really matter to me. That doesn't bother me. It doesn't drive me at all. Why I was obsessed with how my swing looked is because it did not look like all of these great players, all of the ones you see on TV, in the magazines, on videos, the ones that are the pros. You're supposed to look like that, right? You can't swing a different way. You need to swing this way. You need to try and get everything in there just like on TV. And if you don't do that, then really you're never going to be consistent. You're never going to have distance. You're never going to be that great. Now, I realize that what I'm talking about here seems to kind of go against what I've been talking about in some of the latest videos where I've been putting out some of the best things that I've learned and putting together some of those best pieces. But you know what? This series and everything that I do on this channel is not all about what I'm trying to do. It's about trying to help everybody else out there figure out what it is that they need to do. So maybe you've been trying some of the things that Manuel de la Torre teaches and they're not working for you. Maybe you've gone and looked at the right-sided swing and that one's not working for you, or the Zen Golf Flow Motion, and you're saying, that stuff's not working for me. I need something different. Well, I've got you something different. I've got a lot of videos on this that many of you have seen, and if you haven't, you can go check out the whole 6 or 9 months that I did with the Jim Venetos system. But basically, it's about eliminating the variables. It's about making the function the primary objective, not the form. The form is the cart after the horse. You got to get the horse first, right? So the horse is the function. You want good, consistent, penetrating, long ball flights that have a one-way miss, right? So it's going to go out and you know pretty much where it's going to go. It's dependable. You can plan how to play a hole based on a consistent shot. You can't play with a two-way miss. Then you work backwards to find the form and you say, okay, well, I know that in order to produce a nice penetrating ball flight with a draw, a baby draw, that I know when I send it out to the right a little bit, it's going to turn right back over. It's going to turn right back over. It's going to turn right back over. And my distances are pretty consistent. I'm not hitting at 120 one time and then 162 the next time and then back to 138. It's going to be pretty consistent. And you know that to do that, you're going to need this golf club to be traveling from the inside. You know that you're going to need to catch ball first and then the turf. So a slightly descending blow, doesn't have to be chopping on it. just slightly descending to where you catch ball first, then turf afterward, right? And it needs to be shallow, meaning it runs a wide path to give you that distance, right? So you don't want it to be running a shorter path like a U shape or a V shape. You want it to be as wide as possible. That's going to give you the distance and the speed that is effortless. That's going to give you the effortless speed. So you know if you need that to happen, you say, okay, well, why don't I just set up with, I don't know, if I get my weight in the right spot in the beginning, like if this is impact, then why don't I just set my weight there? Where's my weight? Oh, my weight is mostly on my left side. So what if I put my weight there, and I go ahead and simulate impact, and then I'm just going to look at this and say, okay, what if I take it from here, and then I know I need to bring it right back, but I don't want to bring it back like this, you know, chopping over the top. I don't want to bring it back like way from the inside. I want it to track that path that I want the ball to start on. So what I really need to do is not move off the ball, right? Oh, so if I get my weight here at impact, and then I stay here, I can start with small swings. Okay, that tracked back and forth. I didn't have to move. I didn't have to shift the ball. So do I need to swing harder from here? No. No, you don't need to swing harder from here. That's not the key. The key from here is to let the club and its own momentum sort of do the work for you while you just hang on. So I've got my weight forward. I'm going to bring it back just like that. Now, when you start off, you're trying to stay still and you end up doing this and your body stays where it is. You don't follow through, you don't finish. So it takes a little bit of time to sort of get that ingrained and get that feel, right? So then if you set up, all right, I'll do that. I'll set into it. And then I can turn through. After the ball's gone, you can do whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter. The ball has already lit. So what you've done is you've basically taken a function, a penetrating, long baby draw. You figured out what the club needs to do in order to interact with that ball, and you've let your body accommodate the club-ball relationship, right? Now, I've been experimenting a little bit where I'm not doing the pivot and grip because I feel like if I bring it back here, I can deliver it back to where I want it to go, and I want a straighter ball flight, let's say. So it kind of works for me, and I almost feel like my left hand stays here, and then I just move the right arm, and I clap it back into position. That's got some right-sided swing in it, right? That again had that reverse K position. You're trying to maintain that shape. So if you do that and you bring it back, and you try not to have excess movement. There's no point in moving off of the ball and trying to come back and let's get our shoulders and our hips open. Why would I try and hit like this? What function is that going to create? To me, it feels like I'm going to block it way out there. Oh, well, that's because you have to turn the club down and get your left wrist bowed. Why am I going to add in all of those complications to try and create a function that can be simply created by doing this? That's going to dent my garage door. I'll have to fix that later. Maybe some touch-up paint and one of those little suction cup things that you put on there and you pull the dent thing out. And I'll fix that later. Anyway, I can't be worried about looking like somebody out of a magazine or somebody on a video or some mythical idea of what the golf swing is supposed to look like. That's just a bunch of garbage. You know, that's the garbage is this heat out here. This is insane. I gotta go back inside. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to leave me some comments down below. Do what produces the shots and the consistency that you want. And what you look like, what your body looks like, be damned. Kick this stuff out. Forget conventional golf. Forget all that stuff. Get unconventional. Get off the road. Go back in the woods and find the path less traveled. See you guys in the next video.